Hey, it's Nick again for Grayscale Gorilla. I am the Gorilla, and in this quick video, we're going to do another one of these little quick start videos about the plastic deformation stuff in new version r14 of Cinema 4D. We're going to head on in. I'm going to show you quickly how to set this up. We'll have some more in-depth tutorials where we make it pretty and we do all the lighting and all that stuff, but I figure we'll just make short little videos and show you how to set it up and get it going. So let's head on in and do our first little squishy thing in plastic deformation. Deformation. Let's go ahead and add a floor, and on the floor we can just start to add our dynamic tags. So we can go to simulation tags, collider body, and now we got it. Next we need a sphere. Let's say this is going to be the thing we squish. Let's add another soft body tag to this guy, and then the only other thing we need is a way to squish it. So now we grab a cube, we can pull that up, and we can kind of maybe flatten it out, and maybe we'll change this later, but now we have to make this a collider body as well. So before, you were able to have soft body collisions and deformation, but there was no easy way for you to kind of smush something or shape something and then keep it at that shape. So we've run into this where we tried to make cars get smashed when they get hit by other cars, and then keep that damage. So let's say it hits the front fender, and then it can drive around with a busted up front fender. Well, now you can do that by coming into your settings here, your soft body settings, and adjusting a few new options that weren't here before R14. So we have shape conservation, and this is all the stuff you need to play around with to start to get this effect. So specifically our sphere, we need a high amount of stiffness so that it keeps its shape, but then we need a low amount of elastic limit. And the way I understand elastic limit is kind of the force you need to squish it. So now it doesn't need a lot of force to be squished, but when it is squished, it's keeping its shape. So let me show you what that means. If we hit play, the sphere is just going to hang out. It's a soft body kind of object, but it's just sitting there waiting. And what it's waiting for is me to grab this cube and just smush it. And then when it gets smushed, you can see it keeps its shape. So let's go ahead and smush it again. And you can see the only thing limiting it is actually the geometry. So if we were to add a little bit more geometry to this guy, we can actually squish it and squish it and squish it and squish it. And we can make a bunch of fun stuff. So actually what we can do is rotate this guy, and now we can not only squish it, but also like push it. See if we can just kind of make little rolling things. And if we add a little bit more friction to our floor and our cube, let's see if we can make this thing like kind of move and roll. So now you can use this for any kind of like squishing stuff you want to do. Now, if you go too far with it, you see as soon as it enters the floor, it starts freaking out. But that's similar. That's more of a soft body thing than anything new that we've done. So as long as you're okay with it and you're not too hard with it, it goes into the floor and freaks out, you're okay. The other thing you could do to keep that from happening is go to your settings, your project settings, go to your dynamics, and go to your expert settings and turn up your steps per frame. And this is going to slow down our calculation just a little bit, but this is going to allow us to have less of those freakouts and less things that go through the floor. So now you can see we can squish it and beat it up, and we have our object. Now this works with any object you could add this to. You just have to worry about how many polygons and how much geometry it actually is sitting around. So play around with the new plastic deformation. There's a lot of examples of this, like a candy wrapper going around a piece of candy, but we're going to have a more in-depth tutorial for sure soon about this, one of the more typical hour-long ones. But for now, I figured I should give you the quick start so you guys can go set that up in your new R14 and start playing around with the deformation. Deformation. Let's call it deformation. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in another tutorial. Bye, everyone.